In this latest Fallout 76 news video, we'll be covering details on the game's map, timeline in the Fallout universe, facts about Vault 76, and what guns will be in the game come release. Now, if like me and you like your Fallout trivia, you'll know that Vault-Tec were not the so-called saviours of the civilization they led people to believe. A large majority of the vaults they built were used to conduct secret experiments with the human population, such as pairing one man with hundreds of women, one woman with hundreds of men, and even placing one man in a vault alone with only puppets for company for the next couple of decades. Vault 76, however, was not used to conduct experiments. It was known as a control vault, used to compare how the results of experimental vaults compared to that of normal ones. Vault 76 housed 500 of America's best and brightest men, women and children. Can we assume then that as the vault was due to be opened only 25 years after the bombs fell, that this group of people were humanity's best hope of repairing the radiation-stricken world? Now let's talk about the timeline that Fallout 76 is set on. The Great War was said to have begun on October 23rd, 2077. In 2102, 25 years after the bombs fell, Vault 76 opened its doors. With the lone survivor of Fallout 4 leaving Vault 111 in 2287, the story of Fallout 76 will be set 185 years before we ever meet Dogmeat or begin searching for our kidnapped son. Fallout 76 is rumoured to be a much more difficult survival style game, even though Bethesda don't like it coined as this. The timeline that this game is set on certainly suggests that this will be the case. Radiation levels closer to when the bombs fell would have been higher, causing widespread mutation of many organisms and contamination of food and water. So what so far do we know about what the map of Fallout 76 is going to be like? When Fallout 4 was released to the general public, fans could be forgiven for being a little disappointed with the graphical quality of the game. We can look back now and say that the graphics of the previous instalment in the Fallout series did not quite match up to those of other games. This, however, was a conscious choice by Bethesda to invoke a sense of nostalgia to the player, making the game really feel like it was set in a world struggling for technological resources. This, however, will not be the case with Fallout 76. Todd Howard, when asked about how the graphics of Fallout 76 will compare to that of Fallout 4, has stated that 76 will use the same creation engine as Fallout 4, but with enhanced lighting and rendering effects, giving the game 16 times the detail of Fallout 4. There will be 6 different regions to explore, including the West Virginia State Capitol, the Greenbrier Hotel and Camden Park, and each region will have its own set of challenges, including animals specific to their geographical nature. Now the really interesting part. Guns. What guns have we seen so far? With all new FPS games there comes the discussion of what new guns will be included. However, when it comes to Fallout, surely guns cannot be that advanced with such a huge amount of technology and pre-war firearms being lost to nuclear fire. Also, given the fact it's set nearly 200 years before Fallout 4, it would be understandable for us to expect the weapons, especially those that are crudely made like the pipe rifle, to be even more primitive in this game, right? So what about pre-war weapons? Should they be harder or easier to find, considering Vault 76 opened so soon after the war first broke out? Well, taking a look around at some of the news that has been released so far, new and already existing guns will be made available to us upon the game's release. Using the CAMP system, weapon forges and ammunition plants can now be crafted to manufacture new weapons and ammunition in exchange for raw materials. Weapons will be rated by the same attributes as in Fallout 4, so damage, fire rate, range, accuracy, weight and value. A very interesting point though is that weapon degradation, much like you might find when using tools in Minecraft for example, is going to make a return to this game. The more you use a weapon, the more it will degrade and eventually break altogether. We can assume though that in exchange for parts in other weapons or scrap found in the wasteland, these can be repaired at a weapons workbench or weapon forge as they're calling it. Though this does make me wonder about the state and speed of decay of the weapons when you're using them. We may find that more powerful and advanced weapons are harder to repair, maybe they even degrade quicker than other weapons, and their use will have to be limited to occasions when they're desperately needed, rather than running them as a primary weapon for example. So then, what weapons have we seen so far? Well, browsing through the gameplay footage and cartoon clips that have been released to us so far, keen eyes will spot all of the following weapons from Fallout 4. Hunting rifle, pipe revolver rifle, laser rifle, combat rifle, pipe pistol, revolver, minigun, laser gatling, Gauss rifle and assault rifle. What then have we seen that appears to be new to the game? Well, some guns from the footage we've seen so far can be more easily identified than others. We get some very clear images of a heavy machine gun, which is or looks to be modelled from the MG42, a German general-purpose machine gun used extensively during World War II. There is also another machine gun, this one being belt-fed rather than using a drum magazine. It's hard to say what it is for sure, but it certainly appears to be modelled from the Browning M2 machine gun, a heavy machine gun designed toward the end of World War I by John Browning, and commonly found these days mounted at the tops of armoured Humvees. After this, the guns we see begin to get a little more obscure. In one of the clips, we see a player wearing power armour and winding something on the side of their gun. It appears to be some sort of hand crank mechanism, much like the laser musket of Fallout 4 and Gatling guns used in the Civil War. This Civil War era ties in well with one of the other weapons we see in the release footage. A ball ammunition powder charge percussion cap pistol we see being used against an enemy player. It appears to be modelled off of something like the Derringer Model 1842, commonly used during the Civil War. The next unfamiliar gun we see is featured in a very short clip with an attack on a highway bridge. Looking at the rear sight, it appears to be some sort of revision or modified version of the Thompson submachine gun. Some melee weapons can also be seen in the gameplay that has been revealed so far. A pickaxe is carried by a number of players, whilst the shish kebab from Fallout 4 makes an appearance in one of the animated cutscenes. So that's all the news we have for now, guys. Thank you very much for watching this latest Fallout 76 news video. Please do like the video if you enjoyed it and subscribe to the channel for future content, and we'll see you then.